Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Catalina Gillies.
And I'm Ryan Benazzo. A Thunder Bay police officer has filed a human rights complaint against the chief of police, the service, and a number of high-ranking officers.
Constable Kerry believes he's been targeted by leadership for pointing out wrongdoing by a superior, and he claims there is rampant corruption and abuse of power in the upper levels of the police service. Dunning's application to the Human Rights Tribunal is one of 7 such claims that have recently been filed against the police force by Dunning's lawyer, Chantal Bryson. Corey Nordstrom brings us the details.
They're just totally abusing their power.
Kerry Dunning has been a local cop since 2003. Up until the fall of 2020, his career was fairly typical. That's when he says he witnessed a superior officer perform an illegal entry and illegal search on a residence.
The sergeant that showed up, he's a North sergeant. Call was deep in the south, like deep in the south. He had no reason to be there. Yeah, and he knows the complainants are his family. Like, he should have just stayed away from it, right? Not only is it break and enter, he violated her charter rights. So, and that's a big deal.
To his knowledge, the superior officer was not disciplined. In response to our inquiries, a police spokesperson says the matter is now concluded after a thorough examination of the facts. Dunning was one of 4 officers who reported the superior for violations of the criminal code, but he says none of them were interviewed as part of the internal investigation. Less than 2 months following that incident, Dunning was the subject of 3 Police Act investigations, something he believes is no coincidence.
I knew pretty much after I was dismissed that I was going to be targeted. I've never been PSA before in my life.
Dunning also claims the superior officer has a history with avoiding discipline.
There is no chain of command. They're all friends. He's been given some pretty good special treatment. He was involved in an incident where he had a cell phone that it was discovered that cell phone was leaking information to the Thunder Bay courthouse guy there.
Dunning is seeking $230,000. He also wants those guilty of discrimination and harassment to be disciplined up to and including termination, as well as new policies and training for leadership of the service and board regarding mental health impacts of the job and harassment. Dunning's lawyer Chantal Bryson has submitted 4 complaints to the Human Rights Tribunal, with another 3 in the works. The majority of those cases involve the same senior members of the police force and the chief. The complaints stem from incidents in the last couple of years, most including questionable use of Police Services Act charges. Bryson expects even more people to come forward and is confident the applications will be accepted by the tribunal. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
A Thunder Bay murder suspect found guilty of breaching his release conditions is free on bail once again. 25-year-old Jonathan Massicott was found intoxicated with a 1-month-old child at a local fast food restaurant in September. Massicott faces second-degree murder charges in connection with a 2014 homicide at Chapels Park. The body of 32-year-old William Wapoose was discovered on a bike path. It took 4.5 years for Thunder Bay police to solve the case. Massicott was one of 2 people charged with murder in May of 2019. He was released on bail in June of 2020 with a condition not to consume alcohol. Today, he pleaded guilty to breaching his conditions and was given a 30-day sentence. However, because he served that much time already in custody since his rearrest, he's now free on bail again. Massicott's second-degree murder trial is scheduled to begin in January.
Thunder Bay police have now charged 3 people in connection with a local human trafficking case dating back more than 20 years. The female victim was just 14 years old when she was forced into prostitution in 1998. One suspect was arrested in October, and the other 2 arrests came over the past week. 52-year-old Pierre Joseph Merrier of Saskatchewan, 43-year-old Helen Estelle Charette of Thunder Bay, and 63-year-old Dawn Wanda Prue of Thunder Bay are charged with sexual exploitation and living on the avails of prostitution of someone under 18. COVID-19 cases continue to rise across the Thunder Bay district. The health unit is reporting 12 new infections today, including one at St. Ignatius School. 8 of the new cases are in the Thunder Bay area, while 4 come from First Nation communities. There are 10 close contact cases. 2 exposure sources are still unknown at this time. There are now 49 active cases, the most since June 10th. Over in the Northwestern Health Unit, there is 1 new case today in the Dryden-Red Lake area. The NWHU has 15 active cases. And Lakehead Public Schools announced last night that there's a COVID-19 case associated with Elsie Miguel Public School. There are now 4 Thunder Bay schools with at least 1 active case.
And although case counts are high right now, Dr. Janet DeMille says most of the district's active cases come from the outbreak at St. Martin's School. Danielle Bain has more on the Medical Officer of Health's plan to limit additional outbreaks.
Following the COVID-19 outbreak at St. Martin's School and single cases at 2 other schools, Medical Officer Dr. Janet DeMille is very pleased to be able to provide kids age 5 to 11 with the vaccine starting Friday.
It is ultimately exciting that fairly large group of people, 5 to 11-year-olds, now have the opportunity to be immunized, which is actually going to protect them. We know that kids generally do okay with COVID-19, but there are still some serious outcomes, including some that are particular for kids.
She said that the general interest in bookings for the vaccine is high for families in the area, but she wasn't surprised based on vaccine rollouts in the past.
Anytime we've opened up eligibility, there's always people that are pretty keen and eager and will be the first to be at our door or be booking. And we have had, and this morning it was over 2,000 people book through one of our clinics, whether here or in the district communities where we're running them.
They'll be running those mass immunization clinics in many district communities like Geraldton, Long Lac, Terrace Bay, and Marathon, to name a few. They've also partnered with Delico to provide clinics in the surrounding First Nations communities. That's the plan as of now, but DeMille made it clear that it's going to be a work in progress.
It's still evolving, so we'll be likely doing some more clinics there. And as well, we're going to be doing more targeted clinics here in Thunder Bay as well and in the surrounding communities over the month, especially in December, just to get out there and making sure that everybody has access to the vaccine.
Although the COVID-19 case count continues to rise in the district, DeMille is hopeful that the new vaccine eligibility will help with the increasing numbers.
You know, I was hoping we'd hold it off as long as we could, but it's very nice to see that we're much lower than we were last year. And I think once the outbreak maybe is, finished, then I'm hoping we'll see that decline in number of cases again.
Danielle Bain, TBT News.
Across the province, there are 748 new COVID cases and 5 deaths. Amid the rising caseload, there's hope at Queen's Park that the vaccine will help avoid school disruptions. Colin DeMello reports.
Even before the Christmas break, COVID-19 is creeping up. The 7-day average of new cases now stands at 692. 16 schools are closed due to outbreaks. And the Chief Medical Officer of Health is predicting it will only get worse.
This is a nasty, aggressive virus. This is the time of year where we expect an increase. And sadly, yes, we'll see increased cases in school settings, especially the elementary, where they haven't had the benefit of vaccine.
And you are so brave.
Which is why the COVID-19 vaccine for the youngest Ontarians comes at just the right time. And worries over the virus are driving up demand.
We have over 100,000 appointments already made. We're well underway to making sure that we get all of the children age 5 to 11 vaccinated that are going to be.
But the number of bookings on the provincial website only represents 10% of the total number of eligible children in that age group. And at Queen's Park, there are calls to eventually make the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for children and apply the same restrictions that other unvaccinated people face.
I do believe people need to get their vaccines. That should be a mandatory thing. You can't be safe in a crowd of people if you know that they're not vaccinated. I mean, it's pretty clear that the experts have identified that.
But Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health disagrees, saying the province doesn't have the complete data just yet, and some parents are understandably concerned, he says, about getting their children vaccinated.
We need prudence. We need time to review it before it would ever be part of any mandate. I think that's putting the cart before the horse.
But Dr. Moore offered a word of caution. Private businesses and sporting arenas could apply the mandate.
Any independent business can make a decision separate from government, but it would not be our advice at present to include it in any verification certification process.
Making it unclear whether unvaccinated children would be prevented from participating in vaccine-only activities.
In northeastern Ontario's Constance Lake First Nation, schools are closed and a work-from-home order is in effect as officials search 11 sites for the source of a dangerous fungus. Chief Ramona Sutherland says the fungus has been linked to dozens of possible cases of blastomycosis, which is a lung infection. 13 people have probable cases and 37 other possible cases are being investigated.
Thunder Bay Police, the OPP, and the MTO are working together to tackle the major traffic issues on Dawson Road. Hundreds of vehicles were pulled over this week as part of a new enforcement blitz.
As a result of public complaints and analysis of relevant data, the traffic unit believes there is serious risk to motorists who use Dawson Road within the city of Thunder Bay.
Acting Sergeant Sal Carchidi says they set up a joint project on Monday and Tuesday where they laid 124 charges, including 3 related to stunt driving. In addition, the police and MTO pulled over 500 commercial vehicles and took 20 commercial vehicles and 2 transport drivers out of service. The city reduced the speed limit on this section of Dawson Road to 50 kilometers an hour last year, but Carchidi says they're still seeing dangerous driving, especially through the traffic lights.
Intersections are definitely focus of the traffic unit, specifically Hilldale, Facina, and East Avenue. As the vehicles are coming into town at higher speeds, it takes them longer to stop. There's advanced warning lights, but we watched it even with cruisers present. Trucks were applying their horn and driving directly through red lights. So fortunately, we were here to capture those violators, but by reducing speeds, it'll shorten their stopping distance, and hopefully they're more compliant with the lights, reducing collisions as well.
While the targeted and coordinated enforcement blitz has concluded, police will continue to monitor the situation and enforce traffic violations along Dawson Road.
Millions of dollars collected through the Regional Health Sciences Foundation's 50-50 draw and other private donations was doled out this week. The money is being used to fund equipment at the regional hospital and other medical facilities across northwestern Ontario.
Not only does funding go to the Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Centre, but it's also distributed all across the region. Places like Kenora, Fort Frances, Dryden, Terrace Bay, and Marathon have all benefited from the program this year.
The Health Sciences Foundation has issued more than $4.1 million in grant money. A total of 28 grants ranging from $5,000 to $100,000 were approved. The equipment ranges from a pair of echocardiography machines for the regional hospital's cardiovascular surgery program to a water purification system in Fort Frances. Today is the last day to buy tickets for November's 50-50 draw. This month's jackpot has grown to more than $500,000.
With tomorrow being Black Friday and Christmas on the way, Thunder Bay residents will soon converge at Intercity Shopping Center to pick up everything on their wish list. With a lot of people shopping online last year due to COVID-19, ISC Marketing Manager Shannon Young says they're really happy things are close to normal again, with customers back in the store for the holiday season. Young says the mall hasn't been hit with shipping delays and is fully ready for what Young believes is going to be a busy Black Friday and holiday shopping season.
I'm anticipating it's going to be quite busy. I said a lot of people are shopping local, which is great to see. They're not going anywhere out of town to shop, so it's picked up. The shopping started very early this year, so we've had quite a few shoppers where it's days where you don't expect it to be really busy, and it has been, so we're hoping for the best.
For customers looking to shop on either Black Friday or for Christmas, the mall is open most days from 10 in the morning until 8 at night.